Hey everyone. So let's talk about the crypto market. Right now, it's pretty much a sea of red. You look at the charts, Bitcoin is down, Ethereum is down. It's not a pretty sight. And yet somehow, in the middle of all this, there are these few coins that aren't just surviving, they're absolutely skyrocketing. What is going on? Let's dive in and figure it out.
So yeah, this is the big puzzle we're tackling today, right? How is it possible for some of these assets to just defy gravity when the entire market is trying to pull them down? And I'll tell you, it's not just random luck. The reasons behind it are actually fascinating, and they tell us a ton about how investors think when things get scary. I mean, just look at this contrast. On one side, you've got the big players, the market leaders, and they're all struggling. And then on the other side, you've got these absolute rockets taking off. We are talking about insane gains, ZK, Trump, QNT. This isn't just random noise, you know? It's a huge signal that something else is going on just beneath the surface. Okay, so how do we crack this code? Well, it turns out there are basically four hidden forces at work here, four totally distinct reasons why these outlier coins are succeeding. And by the time we're done here, you're going to understand exactly what they are. We're talking powerful stories, strong fundamentals, pure, unadulterated hype, and these weird, isolated ecosystems. First up, let's talk about the power of a really, really good story. See, in a down market, investors are desperately looking for that next big thing. And sometimes the belief in what a project could be is way more powerful than what it is right now. This is the magic of what we call a market narrative. So what is a market narrative? Well, think of it as a big, bold idea that's just so compelling it starts to take on a life of its own. It's that story that gets people genuinely excited and makes them believe, you know? Sometimes even before the tech is fully there to back it up. And a perfect case study is ZK. In a month where most of the market was just bleeding out, ZK was up a staggering 40%. How? It's simple. It all comes down to its story. ZK is riding this huge wave of zero-knowledge hype. Now, in simple terms, this is some pretty cool tech that lets you prove something is true without revealing the secret info behind it. So think ultimate privacy. And that's a really powerful story because it promises to fix two of Ethereum's biggest headaches, speed and privacy. And in a world where regulation is getting tighter, that is a story investors are lining up to buy. All right, next up we've got Internet Computer, or ICP, with a really solid 28% gain. And its story? Man, it's one of the boldest bets in the entire crypto space. So ICP's big idea is this thing called a serverless Web3. Just imagine for a second if the entire internet could run without having to rely on giants like Amazon or Google. That's the dream that ICP is selling, a truly decentralized web. It's a massive ambition for sure, but with more and more developers actually starting to build on their platform, that story is starting to gain some serious traction. But look, a great story isn't the only way to win in a market like this. Sometimes it's not about the dream, it's about the reality. This is when investors get scared. They flee from risk and they start looking for something safe. And that brings us to our second force, strong fundamentals. So when we say fundamentals, what are we actually talking about? We're talking about the real, tangible stuff, the core strengths of a project. You know, does it actually do something useful? Is the technology solid? Are big, serious players getting involved? These are the kinds of things that give a project real, lasting value, especially when all the flashy narratives start to fade away. Which brings us to QNT, up a very healthy 36%. QNT is a perfect example of a project that the big institutions absolutely love, and it's because of its rock-solid fundamentals. Now, one of the really interesting things about QNT is one of its key fundamentals. It's what's known as a low-float asset. And all that means is there isn't a lot of its supply actually available to be traded. Think about it like this: limited edition sneakers versus a pair of shoes they make millions of. With a limited supply, even a small increase in demand from serious investors can cause a huge jump in the price. So you see, QNT combines a few really powerful fundamentals. First, it solves a crucial non-speculative problem, getting all these different blockchains to actually talk to each other. This practical use case makes it a favorite among those serious institutional players. And when you combine that real-world utility with its low float, well, you've got a recipe for stability and growth, even in a super shaky market. So we've seen how great stories and solid tech can drive success. But
there's a third force at play here, one that's way more wild and completely unpredictable. It has absolutely nothing to do with long-term value and everything to do with short-term gambling. Let's talk about the power of pure hype.
And for this, we have to look at the Trump coin, up over 50% in a single month. This is a pure gamble. It's a bet on attention and volatility tied directly to whatever's happening in the news cycle.
Let's be really clear here. There's no fancy technology, there's no grand vision for the future of finance. This is a meme coin, plain and simple. Its value comes entirely from the social media buzz around the US election. It's a playground for traders who just want to ride a crazy wave of hype for as long as it lasts. Okay, so we've covered stories, tech, and hype. But there's one last way to thrive in a down market, and it's kind of by doing the exact opposite of what everyone else is doing. And that's just ignoring them completely. Let's look at projects that are growing in total isolation. Take Aster, for example, which has been steadily climbing by 20%. Now, you probably haven't heard much about it, and honestly, that's kind of the point. Its success has almost nothing to do with the crazy ups and downs of the global market. You see, Aster's growth is powered almost entirely by its super strong adoption inside of Japan. It has this incredibly loyal local community, and it's all fueled by regional partnerships. By focusing on one specific niche, it's basically built its own walled garden, which insulates it from all the negative chaos affecting everybody else. All right, so we've looked at 4 very, very different ways to win in a tough market. So what's the big takeaway here? Let's tie it all together. The next time you're scrolling through the charts and you see some random coin that's just defying the entire market, you'll know what to look for. Ask yourself, is it a powerful story that's capturing everyone's imagination? Is it a project with rock-solid tech that's built to last? Is it just riding a temporary, crazy wave of hype? Or has it built its own little world, totally separate from the chaos? And that leaves us with one final big question to chew on. We've seen that both a great story and a great product can lead to success. But in a world where attention is literally the ultimate currency, which one actually matters more? That's something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.